Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Brummet's YouTube video. If you look down on the corner there of each and every screen of each and every video, there's a little sunset icon. That's our business logo. If you hover your mouse over that, you're going to find that the little subscription box pops up. And when you click that, it really helps us. It's free for you to do, really helps our YouTube video channel stand out in all of those analytics and data centers that choose whether or not our channel is relevant for people who are doing searches online. So every time you do a thumbs up or subscribe to our channel or leave a comment, that all plays a role in the success of getting our free content out to a wider audience. So thank you for participating in that regard. Now, Toy from New Zealand is asking us today, what authors have most influenced our writing, why they have influenced us, and how they have influenced us. And I find this a really interesting question. In fact, I used to be, for those of you who don't already know this, I used to be a professional paid book reviewer. I did that for about 6 or 7 years. And also during that same time frame, I was running a talk radio show, which I ran for, I forget exactly how long now, it was something like 8 or 9 or 10 years or something like that. It ran 3 times a week, 3 new shows every week during that time frame. And so we had a lot of guests, a lot of PR agents, submitting books to us. In that time, I was receiving, between the two positions, 600 books annually, 600 to 700 books annually. And I was able to donate a majority of those books to libraries and literacy organizations and fundraisers and so forth, which was a really neat time for me as well, because I am a voracious reader, thus the eyeglasses on my face. And of course, being a writer too, we're always researching and learning, aren't we? So, I actually really enjoyed the challenge of reviewing the books at the time. I no longer do this, by the way. I no longer do book reviews for a variety of reasons. But at the time, I really enjoyed the challenge of really delving deep into doing a book review. I would evaluate the publisher. I would look at who the printer was, whether they had green in-house policies, social causes that they supported. I looked at the author of each book. I evaluated each and every one of those aspects, those partners in the book, the illustrator. Who are they? What do they stand for? What do they represent? What are they involved in that I can get behind? I did a lot of research and learned a lot of really interesting things. And I learned constantly from that activity in regards to just learning about the people behind the scenes and really studying them in that regard. But also I learned a lot about evaluating a book. So I would be looking at it not just for the writing skills, but I would be looking at it for, why they wrote it that way, who they were attempting to reach with that type of language, what I liked or didn't like about their writing, the use of words, their creative use of words. So many things that I would evaluate, not just the actual topic or the information that was being contained or the story that was being told. So there's a lot of aspects behind the evaluation of each and every book. And so having done that, I think for some time, it took me quite a while before I was able to read again just for the pleasure of it, because I had those business hats on when they just automatically came on when I was reading. And so, I have found that difficult up until, the last few years when I've been able to read simply for the enjoyment of it. I am absolutely influenced by every book that I pick up, whether it's in a good way, or maybe I've noticed something that I didn't like or I thought was negative about the book or the author or what have you. And I can learn from that as well. So, I learn from every book I pick up. Each author is going to have their unique style, their unique way of expressing. They're going to have their own color palette that they're working with, the types of images that they might be using. And I'm going to be learning from all of that, both from, the behind the scenes and the construction aspect, but also the creative use of words and how they tell their story and how they're reaching their audience. I'm constantly learning from writers in that regard. However, I do have some really powerful, really favorite books that I when I'm in interviews, that's one of the most common questions is I'll ask you, you know, who are your favorite authors? And gosh, you know, you could just pop off about 100 of them, because I do have literally 3 full bookshelves, stuff full of books that are keepers, ones that I'm treasuring and holding on to. These are not like ones that are just temporarily passing their time in our home. These are chosen books. So yes, I have a lot of ones that are my favorites. I really liked Ovum Factor, OVUM Factor. It's a novel about the loss of the forests based on that. But it's a really neat fictional story as well with a powerful message. I liked that one. I liked Second Innocence. It's a self-help book, really changes your mindset on how you are, the story that you're telling yourself about your job, your position, your daily activities, who you are as a person. I found that one very, very powerful. Of course, I've always devoured Tolkien books. I've absolutely, you know, I've loved books like Clan of the Cave Bear and Watership Down, and Friday is a really good book. And gosh, there's so many. I could name dozens and dozens and dozens. Startide Rising is another really interesting book. There's so many different books out there that I really enjoy reading. I tried to think of all of them. I can't at this time. But yes, there's so many books that I enjoy reading, and there's a variety of reasons why I am inspired by them. I think that when it comes to fiction, I find myself personally often intimidated by the really great writers, because I look at them as being masters of their craft. And it makes me feel ever so small as a creative writer, which is something I haven't published a lot in, although I do write, and Dave writes in that genre as well. It's actually Dave's favorite genre to write in. He's had some published short stories and things like that. I've done some fiction, poetry, but I haven't had any of my short stories published yet. They're in sort of draft format, and I'm working on them. Actually, in the next couple of months, I'm going to start dabbling at some of them. So I'm really looking forward to that. One of the reasons why I started getting involved in the short stories again myself, even though I have several book manuscripts on the go ready to publish this year, 2 more that I have to finish for the upcoming 2024 period, 23-24 period. So I've got a lot on my plate right now, this new YouTube channel and so much more. However, the creative writing bug has really been itching at me for some time, and I started going to a couple of online writers groups, and from those I became inspired to pick up those short stories and, you know, give them another look and see what I can do now that I've grown as a writer in the meantime, and hopefully I can give them the attention, the proper attention that they deserve. So hopefully, Toy, that answers your question. Thank you for that. I'll be back in a bit with some more answers to more of your questions.